back again for episode 3, hopefully the final one in this Viking tube radio restoration. On the last episode, I had discovered that there was problems with silver mica disease in the FM IF transformers. So what I did, I believe, if you recall, I showed taking the one IF transformer that was definitely bad apart and then cutting away the built-in capacitor, and then I reassembled it, and it was this one. And as you can see, if I can tighten up that shot a bit and show, that is, now it's in the frame, I believe that's it. These are the two outboard capacitors now installed as replacement for those plate capacitors that were mounted as part of the manufacturing process inside the IF transformer. I also replaced, if I can move this over, this one, took that out, and for some strange reason, and I'm not technically aware of why, while there are two slugs and two coils, there's only one capacitor across, and that's on the secondary side to put it in resonance. And likewise, this is the first or input IF transformer, and oh, there we go. And there's only one on there too. Now, when I got this all reassembled with all the capacitors in and everything else checked, I found, for some reason that I didn't quite understand at the moment, that I had turned a functioning but poorly functioning radio, let's back this out a bit, into a completely non-functional FM radio. AM worked fine. And as an aside, I have done nothing with the two AM-IF transformers. They are likely suffering from the same problem, but they're working, the AM is working right now, and I found that the likely replacement capacitors that I need, I do not have. They're about 150 picofarad. I do not have any in stock. So I wasn't going to hold things up for yet another order, which tends to be expensive. So, back to the FM. When I reassembled it, AM worked fine. Our one lone AM station came booming through and it was fine. I had nothing on the FM, and I mean nothing. And I couldn't understand exactly why it would be not performing at all. And I did take apart the ratio transformer, which is in the corner here, looking for those silver mica diseased plate capacitors, and lo and behold, that had a proper ceramic capacitor, which was across the input coil, and there was no need to take it apart. So when I put it back together and then fired things up, I had no function at all. So believing that I had a problem with in taking that apart and putting it back together, I took it apart again. I checked it. The coils were not open. There was no damage to the coils. There was nothing wrong inside. So I had opened up the ratio transformer twice and this last IF limiter transformer twice. No problems at all. So that left me very perplexed. Now I have two sweep generators here, a Heathkit FM test oscillator and an ICO 369. The ICO I have not used successfully. I had restored it, somebody else had modified it, and I'm not that familiar with it. And to be honest, in all my years in electronics, I have not done much in the way of FM alignment at all, so my inexperience shows in my confusion. So at any rate, I used the Heath kit, and I could get nothing through this. And I mean absolutely nothing. Not a hiss, not a screech, not a nothing. So I walked away from it for a few days, and of course I can't just leave it alone, especially since what I have done apparently made things worse. So I got back into it, and I ham-fistedly started adjusting the IF transformers. And lo and behold, I first of all started getting interstation hiss, and then eventually I could tune in the CBC tower. So that proved to me that the capacitors that I had chosen were not precise, even though my calculations and the suggestions online indicated that everything was appropriate for a 22 picofarad capacitor. It was wildly out of alignment. So then I did follow, or try to follow, the alignment procedures as set out by Electrohome, and I found quite a few inconsistencies. So I had to reinterpret what they had intended versus what they had printed on the alignment instructions. I find that very frustrating. They're supposed to have been the experts in the field, and the instructions that they had published were confusing and inaccurate. At any rate, I did manage to set things up and follow through and peak the IF cans. That would be that one, and the input one, both primary and secondary. Now when it came to doing the ratio detector secondary, the instructions that they gave me did not result in anything I could use. And I hauled out my general FM alignment procedures book, which is like 150 pages long, and went through that, and I found an alternate method, putting two 100k ohm resistors in series across the capacitor, this one here, then taking a measurement from the connection halfway point between the two resistors. That didn't result in anything I could use. So after all, I set the secondary by ear, and I'm not happy with that, but that will have to do for now. So we can now demonstrate that the FM does pull in stations. It is still woefully inadequate at sensitivity, pulling in somewhat distant stations. I'm disappointed with that. I also experimented with adding some feedback, and I found
to your homes and being a part of your family. It was an incredible experience. It was such a privilege, such an honor. Thank you so much. Thank you to CBC for giving us this opportunity as well.
Okay.
We love you guys.
So
okay, see you.
A message from Kim's Convenient Director Paul Sun-Hyung Lee.
Clean signal. Now, and I believe my peaking of the, or adjusting of the secondary of the ratio detector transformer is adequate at the moment. There is no AFC on this design, and so drift will likely be an issue when you're warming up the unit. To get back to the feedback, I was attempting to make some improvements in the fidelity, and everything I tried resulted in a decrease in gain to such a level that the radio was very quiet. So in at least the short term, I've abandoned that, and maybe in the long term. It will be what it will be. I have a line on building an FM antenna booster, a 2-transistor unit, that fortunately, because of this filament transformer, I can take and rectify the secondary and give myself a source of DC for that. I will try that. I want more sensitivity from the FM. That would be the only way I would want to use it. If that works and I can get a few more distant stations with this booster, then I may go back to trying to do something about adding more gain and then adding more feedback to get a little bit better fidelity out of the unit. So essentially that's it. There's no real need to show you putting it back in the cabinet. It will go back in the cabinet, but when the weather warms up, I will remove it from the cabinet, and that cabinet will be restored. It will be stripped down and refinished and touched up wherever there's damage. So at any rate, I hope this was entertaining to some degree. It was entertaining for me to do and a bit frustrating, but I guess that's the nature of the hobby. Things are put there somehow in place to be overcome. And so that's it. It's now working. AM, FM, the silver mica disease problem has been cured on the FM. We shall maybe return to revisit the AM problem in the future. And for now, I guess that's it. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I did enjoy making the video. So everybody have a good day. Take care.